faithfully conveying value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're discussing The Price Game, subtitled How to Skillfully Use Pricing to Double Your Profits. Determining product prices. For businesses, this is crucial. It determines profit potential and ultimately survival in the market. Textbooks state that price is determined by value. It fluctuates with market demand, which captures the essence of pricing. But real-world pricing is complex. Consumers struggle to gauge true value, while prices get swayed by information gaps, future expectations, and psychological factors. Price. The Price Game dives deep into pricing strategies, offering thorough analysis of pricing principles. Through real case studies, the author teaches businesses to master pricing psychology, outmaneuver competitors, and maximize profits. Author Rick Caldwell founded Alan, a UK pricing strategy consultancy, and serves as its lead consultant. They advise UK Treasury, BBC, London Power, Grants Whiskey, and others. Most clients see over 20% profit growth under Alan's guidance. I'll now explore the book's core ideas through three key questions. First, pricing new products. Second, post-launch price competition. Third, using pricing to boost sales. Let's start with the first question, how to price a new product. The author's friend Maggie invented a chocolate teapot, a disposable plastic pot coated inside with chocolate. Different tea bags go inside. When hot water's added, the chocolate melts into the tea. As chocolate melts and tea infuses, consumers experience layered flavors. So how should such an innovative product be priced? The common method is cost-plus pricing. Calculate production costs, then add a reasonable profit margin. So how much does one chocolate teapot actually cost? First, the raw materials aren't expensive. The plastic for the teapot costs about 5 pence, the chocolate 6 pence, and the tea bag around 3 pence. Plus, packaging adds 5 to 10 pence, bringing total material costs to about 20 pence per teapot. But production requires machinery too, like injection molds and chocolate spraying equipment. Machinery and production line costs exceed £300,000, allocated per teapot based on sales volume. Selling just 10 units could push per teapot costs to £36,000.
Sell 100,000 and costs drop to £3.79 each.
Sell 3 million and it's just 31 pence. Clearly, per unit costs vary wildly by volume. Since sales are unpredictable, precise cost calculation is nearly impossible. Thus, cost-plus pricing often fails to yield optimal prices. So how should prices be set? The method: position first, price second. The author argues prices should reflect consumer value, not cost. Higher value justifies higher prices. But consumers struggle to value new products, often using related items as reference points. Businesses should therefore link new products to familiar ones, shaping price expectations. For example, selling beside instant coffee in supermarkets frames the teapot as low value. But in coffee shops, consumers equate it with a fresh cappuccino, accepting premium pricing. In short, every product group has its price range. Choose the right competitors and positioning, and you command higher prices with better margins. Choose wrong, and you're trapped in the bargain market. For most new companies, the biggest danger isn't overestimating, but underestimating their product's value, often leading to low price strategies that put them at a disadvantage in competition. And that was, additionally, when new products enter the market, facing established brands like Coca-Cola with high recognition and loyalty, you can't win customers with low prices unless yours are significantly lower. At this point, clever positioning and finding a different path might be more likely to succeed. For example, Lindley, the British immigrant to Peru, and his wife used local herbs and other ingredients to create a yellow beverage with a hint of pineapple flavor. To appeal to Peruvian national pride, they named it Inca Cola. It linked its brand image to organic food, emphasizing health, sold at 50% higher than Coca-Cola, becoming a national drink in Peru. Despite all efforts, Coca-Cola repeatedly failed and had to acquire it, preserving its brand and taste differentiation. a key strategy in pricing. Differentiation means offering products with distinct features and setting different prices. Back to the chocolate teapot example. Maggie surveyed 4 customers willing to pay 40 pence, 99 pence, £1 15 pence, and £2 10 pence respectively. Let's calculate. If priced at 40 pence, you only get £1 and 60 pence, wasting potential revenue, the extra amount the other 3 customers are willing to pay. If priced at £2.110, the first 3 customers won't buy. Same if priced at 99 pence or £1 15 pence. Similarly so, if we design different products with different prices to attract each group, we can capture all their spending. Well, to achieve this, create different product values for different customers. For example, use standard packaging for customers willing to pay 99 pence or £1 and 15 pence, simple packaging for 40 pence, or produce high-quality versions with cream and chocolate flavors. Leverage premium branding to attract high-end customers willing to pay more. All right, so through the chocolate teapot example, we've seen that pricing is way more complex than just cost plus profit. Therefore, when pricing new products, start by positioning them strategically and conducting thorough market research. After launch, the pricing game is far from over. Now let's dive into part 2, how to handle price competition after product launch. First, let's explore clever ways to raise prices. Increasing prices post-launch is tricky because products establish price memories. Even small hikes can upset customers. No matter how justified, the best approach is modifying the product to prevent direct comparison. This is called price restructuring. Common tactics include downsizing packaging while keeping prices, or adding features like new flavors with slight price increases. Another method, temporarily hike prices then discount them, making customers feel prices stay the same before settling at the new level. Frequent price adjustments work too, changing daily so customers can't memorize prices, allowing gradual increases. Businesses must monitor reactions carefully. Both immediate and long-term responses matter. If sales drop significantly, adjust immediately. Sales upgrades are another form of price increase. Let's examine bundling other products for sales upgrades. For example, since people often eat sweets with coffee, bundle desserts with chocolate teapots to boost revenue. After all, customers would buy desserts elsewhere anyway. Why not capture that revenue ourselves? Place a pound 1.2 20 chocolate biscuit next to a pound 1.99 milk chocolate teapot. Offer the biscuit for just 75 pence when bought with the teapot. Most customers will add it to their purchase.
Besides bundling other products for extra profits, bundling is also a sales upgrade strategy.
This method requires finding a company to partner with whose products or services have relevance to your product but are priced much higher than yours. For example, Chocolate Teapot Co. partnered with an airline to launch a premium tea lounge cocktail sold on flights for £9. Surveys show that if consumers spend over £100 on airfare, spending an extra £9 naturally feels insignificant. At this point, an agreement with the airline is needed to integrate the teapot's price into the overall expense. For instance, for first-class passengers, the airfare already includes the teapot's price, effectively reducing focus on its cost. Earlier we talked about price hikes, but what if a competitor lowers prices? Engaging in a price war is definitely not a good solution. To avoid price wars, the best approach is to make your product stand out in the competitive environment, creating a premium image so customers won't easily compare your price to others. Fine. However, if that's not possible, when facing attacks from competitors, it's best not to directly lower prices. Instead, adopt 3 strategies to counter. First, implement promotional offers. This way, you maintain your price while giving customers a benefit, reducing the likelihood they switch to other products. Second, provide a money-back guarantee. For a new product, implementing a money-back guarantee demonstrates confidence in your product and service, boosting sales. Third, introduce smaller or simplified versions of the product. This method doesn't actually lower the price, it reduces the selling price by shrinking quantity or simplifying packaging, making competitors' low price strategies ineffective. Earlier, we discussed pricing strategies among businesses. Next, let's continue with the price game, entering part 3 of the book, How Businesses Use Pricing Strategies to Boost Sales. Here, the author introduces a series of strategies: price anchoring, decoy pricing, peer effect, endowment effect, bundling, offering freebies, deferred payment, etc. First, let's understand how businesses use price anchoring to set customers' price expectations. The first impression of a product's price is crucial, forming their psychological price point. The author describes an experiment by Maggie, setting up 2 entrances at a chocolate teapot direct store. Group 1 walked southbound, seeing prices from low to high. £1 and 30 pence, then £2 and 55 pence, and finally £6. Group 2 walked northbound, seeing prices reversed, high to low. Results showed Group 2 spent 60% more than Group 1. When entering, most customers had no reference for a fair chocolate teapot price. First impressions were crucial here. If the first price tag seen was £1 and 30 pence, that number anchored their expectations. Anything higher than seemed like luxury pricing, reducing purchase willingness. But if the first item was £6, $0, accept that as standard. Then £2 and 55 pence appeared perfectly reasonable. While £1 30 pence seemed suspiciously cheap, people now indulge in pricier treats occasionally. Thus, most in this group chose the £2 and 55 pence teapot. That's the magic of price anchoring, one of retail's most powerful strategies. Sometimes businesses use decoy pricing. The author shares his camera buying story. He considered 2 cameras, a Nikon with better battery and performance at £329, and a Sony, less capable but lighter, cheaper at £285. He couldn't decide since both had strengths. Then a salesperson showed last year's Nikon. Inferior specs, yet £10 more than the new model. Obviously, no one would choose the old Nikon, but influenced, the author picked the new Nikon over Sony. How come? Because people struggle to compare products with different strengths across various attributes. Customers aren't quite sure about the benefits of a portable, lightweight Sony camera versus a Nikon with longer battery life. But since the new Nikon clearly outperforms the old one at a lower price, choosing the new Nikon is obvious. The old Nikon served as a price decoy, not meant to sell itself, but to boost sales of the new Nikon. Next, let's examine peer effect and endowment effect in purchasing behavior. Purchasing behavior has herd tendencies, easily influenced by others, especially friends. This is peer effect. Trusting friends, most of us buy things based on their recommendations. In today's online sales era, this herd behavior is even more pronounced. When shopping online, we always check sales volume and product reviews. Top live streamers can sell hundreds of millions in one session. Powered by peer effect, the endowment effect, people value what they own more highly. Experiments show people value items in their hands 20 to 50% higher on average. Thus, businesses let customers interact with products before purchasing decisions. Product trial practices are rooted in this endowment effect. Bundling is another common business strategy. Bundling reduces price sensitivity for individual items. If a similar product exists, customers won't focus on the value you provide. Instead, they'll compare competitors' pricing and demand you lower prices. The solution: make price comparisons impossible. Bundling excels at this. Mobile phone plans are classic bundling. Operators offer similar basic call services. If only call services were charged, consumers would easily compare prices and choose the cheapest operator. So mobile carriers offer dazzling bundles mixing calls, texts, data, ringtones, caller ID, with complex rules that confuse customers, forcing decisions based on intuition or habit. And beyond bundling, freebies play a vital role in sales. This works not just due to bargain psychology, but by reducing purchase decisions. like paying shipping fees for online orders or buying bike locks or helmets with bicycles. Each scenario requires multiple purchase decisions combined for evaluation. Adding free gifts eliminates decision points, making purchases easier. Amazon offered free shipping above certain prices globally, except France, which charged 1 franc. 1 franc was negligible for most items, yet this tiny fee significantly impacted sales. After introducing free shipping in France, sales surged noticeably. Today in China, free shipping is expected, and small gifts, though low value, powerfully boost sales. Paying cash hurts, but using tomorrow's money, or someone else's, feels much easier. Installments and deferred payments do exactly that, using future money. This is a familiar sales strategy. Any method letting customers buy high-priced items without immediate payment boosts desire and reduces price sensitivity. Well, car and furniture sellers excel here, offering interest-free loans to attract hesitant customers while commanding higher prices. Imagine asking a customer to pay £899 upfront for a sofa. They'd likely keep their old one longer. But if it's £38 a month for 3 years, with no payments for the first 2 months, customers are far more likely to buy. Because customers think, why not enjoy the good stuff now? So even though they don't save a penny, maybe even spend more, the future pain is easier to rationalize or ignore. Another scenario, customers spending someone else's money.
For example, kids aren't price sensitive about toys because they're spending parents' money. Making kids happy matters more than price.
Corporate purchases also use others' money. Procurement staff approach company buying differently than personal spending. Personal shopping prioritizes savings, while corporate buying focuses on satisfying bosses or colleagues, not just lowest price. So, different sales tactics are needed for corporate clients. They typically compare similar products before deciding. This is standard procedure in corporate procurement.
You must provide compelling proof that choosing you over others is correct.
Additionally, businesses rarely finance purchases. Deferred payment lacks appeal, and price anchoring decoy tactics have limited impact. For procurement staff, what metrics and stats satisfy leadership and colleagues? These are crucial for convincing boards and shareholders. These are what sellers must prioritize and prepare. After all this, do you feel businesses have too many tricks? Always raising prices to outsmart us consumers? Actually, businesses studying consumer psychology to maximize profits is normal market behavior. Manufacturers aren't obligated to minimize prices. Their duty is providing better experiences and value. Without sufficient profits, they can't invest in tech upgrades or new product development.
Of course, price fraud or maliciously misleading consumers violates ethics and laws.
That's the main content of the book. The author helps businesses clarify key pricing issues and suitable methods, detailing consumer psychology and purchasing behavior, while revealing sales techniques and competitive strategies. And, although written from a business perspective, with the subtitle, How to Skillfully Use Pricing to Double Your Profits. This book also helps ordinary consumers understand pricing complexity for smarter spending decisions. Choices. All right, that concludes our discussion of the price game. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.